All right. And now we're just going to hit go live over here. It's Tabatha and Gley. We're coming at you in just a second. All right. All right. Cool. We're here.
Hi.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tabatha Mudra, and I'm the writer and a few other titles for Bulls and Piranhas. And this is Gley Viera. She played Sherri in Bulls and Piranhas, who was the mother character. Wow, what a mother!
What a mother. No other. Yeah.
Tell me about you first. Introduce yourself and tell me what your passions are and what your interests are and all those fun things.
Oh, okay. I am Gley Viera. I go by Gley, and I am an actress based out of South Florida. Cuban background, and I am passionate about all things human. So I've been doing this unofficially since I was 5. Put on a set, and I loved it. But then became a swimmer, and life took me rounds and rounds until I decided to quit corporate America and just follow this thing called film industry. That was 8 years ago, and now I find myself being passionate about well-being. So I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of sports boxing, I love my pets, I'm a nature's gal, sunrise, moonrise, and that's kind of what it's about. And in between I audition and I work.
Yeah, you have a unique job, right? Because it's a family position.
I actually store. I almost forgot. I have a little secondhand store with my mom, and that's kind of what I do on the side, and my little, I guess, creative escapades, with clothing items. I love fashion, and my mom does too. She's fabulous. And yeah, we do that. But other than that, I'm an auditioning gal.
Yes, and I have to say, in the world of self-tapes, everyone agrees with me. If there was an award ceremony for best self-tape, I've never seen anything like what you put forth for Sherri and Bulls and Piranhas. It was haunting. It was riveting. It was visceral. And you were just maybe exactly where you're at right now on a great wall.
Yeah.
And you were fully in multiple dimensions. You just had gotten the character with so little notes.
Thank you.
So that's how we just knew it was. We were having round tables and people were over, and I was like, you have to see this. And everyone's like, oh,
Right.
Yeah, self-tape award goes to.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great. I love to hear that you're also really connected to your health. Health and wellness is such a big deal. Self-love and all that good stuff. What attracted you to the role of Sherri? And did you have any hesitations?
So what attracted me was that you wrote it specifically, and when I read the sides, there really was nothing given outside of just the intensity of that moment, and it intimidated me, so that attracted me to the role. And I only had a hesitation about being able to do it, about really going there, because I was not this person at all, but I know this person, and that was it. So it took me 4 days or so maybe to read it, think about it. I watched tons of YouTube, tons of videos, tons of we live in Miami. I live in downtown, close to downtown, and there's this person is floating around in every corner. So it just took me a bit to observe, and I only did 2 takes of that, and it taught me such a valuable lesson on on doing the work before you get to the camera, because then it just flows and it's not forceful and it's not active, you know. So yeah.
Wow. Were you hesitant? It's a tough role. Tell us a little about how you interpreted Sherri, who she is, and if there were hesitations there.
Yeah, I see. Well, Sherri had potential to be more than what she ended up being, and I think at some point there was this choice of just giving up as a human being and just letting the waves crash into you without you moving or doing anything about it except self-destroy more. And I see Sherri as a timeline of bad choices after bad choices after bad choices, and still being allowed to live in a way, and still not seeing what is in front of her, like so many people, not seeing it until it's too late, until you've seen the chaos you yourself put there. And I felt like Sherri taught me so much in how to stop when it's rock bottom, unless you want to just leave this world, period.
Yeah.
I think that it scared me because at first I didn't empathize with Sherri, and I like to obviously understand everyone I'm stepping into, and I struggle with that, with seeing women just let themselves get destroyed by negative forces, and you get destroyed, and that's it, and then you find yourself in this dark cloud, this storm. So yeah, I've spent some time and like at a woman's shelter, and I've seen. Well, I traveled from Mexico into the U.S. with my mom, and I went into women's shelters multiple times, especially mom shelters. And you just see, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a mom that cared to give me the best possible life instead of worrying about what she wanted, and the desires that she wanted and the pleasures that she might have given herself if she didn't have me. So I see what's possible, and I see what's also possible in the choices that you make. You could change your destiny if you just choose differently.
The power of choice. Yeah. Sherri makes some very unique choices, and she's in a cyclical aspect of her life. It seems as though this generational trauma has just imprinted on her, and she's repeating the same cycle that she knows, and then that goes to her youngest, and so it continues.
Go on and so on and so on. Yeah. And it's such a it's a common history, right? Where we keep repeating the same trauma that our parents did, and until it's up to us, and then you find yourself almost at that point of repeating it again, and it's you get set up for either continuing the cycle or breaking the cycle. So it's so important, and sometimes it's too late, you know.
And that's the journey we go on with Samantha, your daughter, is does she break the cycle? Exactly. She's imprinted with every possible negative outcome already in the stars for her. But based on her psychology and the choices she makes as a young person, with no real control, but she can control this. So she understands the power of the mind.
Yeah.
And oh wow. I can't wait for everyone to see how good you were. Oh my gosh. I was just telling I just completely, I have such a set crush on you because there's a few actors I've worked with where I just want to write for you forever. I just want to always work with you.
All the ages, all the stages. Please, I don't care.
Tell us a little bit about your process getting into the character of Sherri. I watched you completely, your eyes shifted, your body shifted, and then you were there. It was like a possession. So tell us about your process.
Definitely physical, but you and Lexi were so kind in giving us months and months of preparation, and it wasn't just like being thrown into the doghouse of the set and just being there. No, it was. I observed a lot. Like I said, a lot of corners were observed, and I love the use of facial muscles, and Sherri gave me an opportunity to not be afraid of just letting them do what they do if they weren't controlled. If you weren't able to control your body and your muscles and your spasms, what would it do? And I let myself explore that, and it took me a while to get out of it. Like, it took me a while to stop with the quirks. Like, there was a meditation process and just a couple of days of me really tuning back into my body after being on set, so that it would stop controlling me. But it was fun. Observation is key in my line of work for me. So I would zoom I did a lot of research, could find all the articles I could find of women going through it, the after, the before, how they were, how they ended up, and it's just an evil spirit that takes over you, and what that looks like is pretty much the same all across, you know. So it was fun and terrifying, and I got to know myself in a different light, and I blanked out on set. Like, I don't know what I did. I can't wait to see and come back into remembrance, because it was my favorite kind of set, because you just so immersed into the world, and even though there was so many people in that tiny little trailer, it just felt like I was in that life situation.
Mm-hmm. I have a little video to take us back. I think it played today, but let's play it and discuss it.
You do what you want to me. You want to kill me.
My face is like, ah.
Are we seeing it?
Oh, did you see it or no?
No.
Oh, no.
I didn't. Hold on. Why?
It should have played. Maybe it only allows me to. No, we're gonna play it again. Let's play it again.
You do what you want to me. You want to kill me.
I was like this.
I
mean, that's just such a tiny little clip of a very intense scene that you had. It was sort of this a very, very highlighted moment. You had, I mean, your room, your hallway, it was all your, Sherri's energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that particular floor scene, when you get pushed to the floor and you have your reaction, was so visceral. And again, Sherri's very, what do you call it when someone pokes at you? Instigative. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you do what you want to me.
Yeah.
And she's just always kind of her own protagonist.
Yeah, she has no care for anything that happens to her. She's on her way out, and I think she plays with that. She plays with that a lot. Total no sense of of good or bad. I think for Sherri, it was it's she's a blob almost. This just like this blob of I feel like the it's almost like she wants to be alive the most, but her body and her spirit it doesn't let her. So she does whatever she can through her mouth and through her voice and through whatever is left of her to defend herself, but she's not strong enough.
Mhm. Yeah, she definitely battles. It's a curious duality because she has very low self-esteem in certain areas, but is
Yeah.
such an instigator in other areas, which, you know, to instigate, you must have a certain level of confidence.
Yeah.
So she just has this really unique back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
She's a curious character. I mean, they all were. This is a
Yeah.
film of definitely like curious characters. Yeah, but tell me, how did this role differ from other roles you've had in sunny South Florida?
Oh, it was horrendous. It was ugly. It was an ugly role. I loved that about it. You know, being from South Florida, I get a lot of the pretty girl roles, or you know, girl on the beach, girl doing this, girls, and this was so human and so raw. Not a cookie cutter wife, not a you know good mom or a good friend. It's just ugly, and was that was beautiful because I crave that. You know, I crave the transformation and giving those characters a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did. You even got to do your own makeup. Dates. Thank you, Gley.
Makeup.
What was nice about that particular makeup scenario is you had to run through the day before, so you had a little prep. But what was really neat about the special effects day one is the getting the dirt in the fingernail, the making sure you look tired but not over the top. I really wanted to be conscious of not glamorizing the subtleties of addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is to be careless with yourself and others.
Mm.
So, and hopefully it translates. We'll see it on the big screen. But yeah, let's see here. What was the most challenging part for you?
Wow. The most challenging part. I would say the training because that's when I was learning how to go there without hurting myself. You know, because I knew once I would get there, I wouldn't care about hurting myself. So probably I would have definitely hurt myself because I just get so in it that I fall and I don't. 3 bruises later, that's okay. I don't feel it until 2 days later. You know, when the adrenaline is off. So the challenge was learning how to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and having a good helped. So.
I love that we had a seasoned stunt coordinator to at least get us to a point of choreography that was safe, and to at least have that in our back pocket.
Yeah.
Because I know you were going all in no matter what. So we had to do something to help those falls, and to help some of that, you know, what the best way to grip to make sure your airflow is not cut off, to make sure, you know, again, I call it the choreography scene, but it's essentially a domestic violence scene.
Yeah.
Meant to be very raw, very real, very much seated in true life.
Yeah.
And things that have actually happened, could actually happen, etc. So, and all the sounds and the sweat and the literal shedding. Oh my gosh, I don't remember our top count, but we had 12 people in a closet with no AC.
Yeah.
That was my challenge.
It was and you had all of everything on you. It was, wow, no.
Loved every second of it. I'd do it all again. I'd do it all again tomorrow. What was the highlight for you?
Oh, Mia Bella was such a highlight on set. She really made. She was the comedic relief, the cuteness relief, the everything relief. But outside of that, I really enjoyed and it's all community for me. So when we got together after we were done filming and I got to see everybody in one room, I think that really opened my heart and just, to make me realize the beautiful project I had just been a part of. But other than that, it just being on set is a highlight. Being able to just finally do it after months and weeks of just preparing for it, just action. That's a highlight. That literally a high that you can't get back.
The magic of set life. It's just, and this was a gritty, like you said, dirty role. It was a raw, delicious, dirt-filled role. And everyone, I think it was, I'm interviewing Tim next, and I can't wait to get to his challenges because I saw him going through certain things, because he was like, I have to do what? Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because you guys only see 2 pages, the sides, and then you get the script and you're like, oh,
yeah. Well, he said when he said that he really wanted to do this role because he wanted to make sure that the actor playing Sherri was safe. That was I felt in really good hands, and it was, I know he could land it. He could, amazing actor. So that was in a worry, but having someone there that wants to make sure that you're protected outside of what needs to be shown it's such a gift, such a blessing. I thank you for having him.
Aw.
Yeah.
It was a dynamic duo. There's some things coming out after we introduce all of you, and then we get to crew. We'll get into duos because there were quite a few duets in front of scenes and behind the scenes. So that'll be super fun.
Yeah.
You've kind of touched on this, but did you walk away with any insights?
Many insights. First and most important insight, actually, 2 days before, it was my mom's 50th birthday, and I traveled to Mexico, and I almost missed my flight back. So the insight was, don't you ever again. I mean, there was no way that it was going to happen. I would swim to Miami if I needed to, but the gods were in our favor, thank God. But I'll never again book a trip where I have to come back and the next day I film. Yeah, so super important for me. I didn't want to bother anyone on production with that, so surprise, that happened. But something, so it was, I think I had my first panic attack on that airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was just not possible. But I got on the flight. It was a big lesson. But outside of that, from the very first moment that I stepped into the self tape, I learned that you don't have to overdo it. If you overdo it, I think you're doing in the wrong because you're acting. So it taught me a valuable lesson on just doing the work before you get to the camera, so that you can just send it out and do your best work in that way. I learned that you have to train before. You have to coordinate. You have to know your stunts. You have to know your partner. You have to look at each other before doing the big pushes and the big grabs. So super important to have a trusted team. After Bulls and Piranhas, I don't want anything below that. Anything that will make me feel like I'm not held and safe. Leslie did such a good job at just making, just checking in with us and just making sure that we're good. So having that, yeah, it really set a tone. It really set a standard for all upcoming films and projects.
Good. I'm really glad to hear that. A standard is, I think all things, there's some abuse in all industries, but definitely in film and theater. There's certain things that are overlooked and expected of you to do. So I'm really happy to hear that you had a comforted, like held, secured time.
Yeah.
And you were just a gift. You were a gift to the whole crew. Everyone loved you. So it was it when it was your time to go and we had closed, we were close. I was like, what do you mean? I can write more. I can do more. Go far.
So short-lived. Oh, yeah, definitely. It was, I know. It happened like that in the blink of an eye. I really wanted it to last more.
Yeah, it's already
The oven, I wanted it to last forever.
Did this role promote growth within you? I think you kind of touched on it.
Yeah, I can't touch it enough. Absolutely. It also made me so thankful of the path that I'm on and the health that I have and the choices that my mom made for me. Definitely saw myself in Mia Bella's character a lot. What could have been, if my mom hadn't made the right choices. It made me grateful for my life as Gley Viera. And also it proved that I can to myself that I can get ugly, that I can let myself get there and I can do uglier or dirtier or gruntier, and just like more intense and that's really something I crave. And maybe not perhaps just ugly, just like in real, raw, human, not polished or anything like that. It definitely gave me that.
Did you watch Monster, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when she was going through her transformation, they put on prostheses, teeth to make them, jagged and more imperfect. Because she's stunning, It's I'm spacing her name right now. So from Monster, it'll come to me.
Yeah.
The woman who plays Eileen Wuornos goes through a huge transformation. But what she loved about it, because it was such a gritty role, is she was able to go out in public and not be seen as this A-list celebrity.
Ooh.
So, but she said nobody held the doors. People treated her badly. Because remember, her transformation was to look very, I don't know what the proper term is, but trashy. She's not meant to look nice. And Charlize Theron is a very stunning woman in the nature of her presentation.
Yeah.
So I think with Bulls and Piranhas, it was like, did I want to stain the teeth? Did I want to go more?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to, again, just overdo it. I just thought the subtler, more like, because it was about the acting rather than if you had been picking at your face or more, missing a tooth or this or that. I didn't want to get caught up in those details because I thought you did such a wonderful job translating the energy of who Sherri is. And what you're saying is it's the choices she makes. And I love that you share, you had some, like a visceral response towards Mia Bella's character in that, wow, had my mother not chosen her lifestyle and bringing me up. So I'm hoping to have that at the screening, is this empathy and compassion towards the underbelly and these lower socioeconomics and people who are not as educated, and so on and so forth. So I love that you said that.
Oh, so much purpose in this project. It's, it shows just the negative reality, but it's with the purpose of the greater good, and I really, that definitely enticed me to be a part of this so much.
Yay! All right, what was your favorite scene to film and why?
My favorite scene. Is it messed up that it was the leash? It was. I mean, it was part of my audition, so it was something that yeah, it was a challenge in its own, but I knew that I could do it, so it didn't, it didn't. I was nervous, so it's like about to go in a what is that called?
Roller coaster.
A roller coaster. It was a roller coaster. That part. That was my favorite scene. Yeah.
So the leash scene, actually, Tim or Dan, your partner in the movie, wraps 2 or 3 times, I'm not even sure, around Gley's neck a leash, and then pulls her up the wall and holds her by this leash. Now, you had your hands somehow pivoted underneath. You somehow made it make sense for the front of the camera so that you wouldn't like actually choke. Going up the wall, filming that was so intense.
Exactly.
It was, this everything about from the lens selection to the lighting, it was so intimate in this dark space. I'm certain you all smelled each other's breath.
Everything.
Because right in
like I said, I blanked out, so I don't remember.
That's wild. So yeah. That's funny that's your favorite scene. That's great. I think, well, right now in the current edit, when you wake up to the noise and you come down the hallway, it's so done. It's edited so beautifully. Again, Erin Lee is just a feelist. She can feel every scene. She feels the edit. I love it.
The magic touch is always the edit, yeah.
Yeah, and then you approach the window, and this introduction of you is just so beautifully dark and gritty, and it's a stunning, reveal of setting you up and who you are going to be in these scenes. So it's pretty cool. This is the shout out section. So is there a person that stood out to you on set? You kind of said Mia Bella. She was.
There's some things that a child actor will do that you just can't learn in an acting class. It just comes with. When you're a good actor, it doesn't matter if you're in child form, So she was amazing. But Matthew Salas, what was the character's name? I'm blanking out.
Craig.
There was the only time that I was able to see the behind the scenes when I wasn't, maybe I was done filming or something, but I found myself catching one of the scenes that he was doing, and Greg's character was always in the background, but he added so much to every scene. He was so important, so essential, and he was amazing. He did so many little subtle things that I was like, whoa, where have you been and where are you? You're such a good actor. So I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see what he did.
No, it's great. I can't, I'm so nervous for the cast and crew screening with our special private guests. We're calling it a WIP screening. It's a work in progress screening. There will be all kinds of fun things. I don't know if you saw or if I showed you. We have
I didn't, but I love that.
Stickers, pin. Oh, I'm over here. Little pins. I don't know if you're a pin person, but I'm a pin person.
I love it.
And all the merch and all fun stuff. And so that'll be such a special time to spend with, and you'll see Matt again, and hopefully everybody, you know.
Everybody can make it, yeah.
Huh.
I can.
Now, these are unrelated to film, but I wanted to, before we get into them, do you have any questions for me? Just as we've come this far.
I wasn't ready for the questions for you. Oh, okay, let's see. What have you asked me that I wish I would have asked you? What was your favorite scene to film? Because you were on set multiple times that I wasn't there, so I'm curious.
Okay, so for me, writing the choreography scene of the domestic violence, that was the critical scene. Can it be pulled off? Can it be safe? Can it look real? Like really real. So much so that it may be so uncomfortable for the viewer.
Yeah.
You know, I love those kinds of films where I am uncomfortable or having a visceral reaction. So I'm hoping, I'm not like, oh, I hope I make you all uncomfortable. But the idea is these are real moments in real life, and can we deepen our understanding for folk who have, you know, mental health considerations, substance abuse? How are we serving this population? And how are we judging them, and how are we helping them, and all of those fun things. But getting that choreography, I love choreography. Doing a fight scene was on my bucket list, to make sure that it comes across as eloquently and gritty as possible.
Yeah. Wow. So your work started way before we got in there. I also know that these people exist. Sherri exists, and that was so interesting to me. Tell me about how the process of writing the story came about.
Yeah, so I think, well, someone in my life had said in some words like, the one thing you can write that's the truth is your own story. So I was like, okay, that's good. When I first created 1310 Bandits, it was all about getting women in front and behind the camera and telling authentic female stories. And then that grew and grew and grew. And I was like, what better way to communicate the human condition than from the perspective of truth? So all of these are rooted in real people, real experiences. The entire film, you know, in its wholeness is as real and raw as we can get. And that's the biggest challenge, is making sure it is and feels real.
Right.
Yeah, because glamorization, I've seen so many movies that glamorize this kind of, I don't want to name them because that might be bad, but there's a lot. There's so many, and they just go, you know, from the terrible accents to, you know, just doing these kind of stereotypical things, which I love stereotypes. They're very fun, but being a little over the campy, you know, it teeters on the camp side. So I really wanted the opportunity to see how gritty it could become if we just stayed true to the characters.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I admire you so much. Gosh, I look up to you. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, I feel the same. I just want to play in the sandbox, the film sandbox, forever and ever. Yeah, with you. And we'll soon be hanging out. So on the topic of life, What is the greatest lesson you've learned in life thus far?
There is love and fear. And you're either doing things through love or you're reacting to things through fear. And I think fear reacts and love does. And so whenever I find myself reacting to something, I just find the fear in there and then just, slap it up and turn it into love. But really just that's key for me. That's kind of like the recipe into how I travel this thing. Whether it's with projects that slip out of my hands or things that come in. So it just the art of letting go falls into that as well. Just love or fear. Which one? Why is this happening? And why are you reacting to it? Yeah.
Sounds so self-aware of you. I like it. I love self-awareness, and I love how have you heard of the consciousness, it's like a paradigm, what's it called? The consciousness funnel. Essentially,
No.
where I'm going to send you all the things on this because it's a fascinating funnel. Essentially, there's like survival, guilt, shame, and these kind of things are your lowest function, right, as a human being. And then as we teeter-totter up, we get to enlightenment or sort of this, serene space of Buddhism. But we all live somewhere in between. Most people are at the 200 level in consciousness, but you have the ability to get to 1,000, which would be, the best, the dimension of dimensions. Yeah, and then if you had a magic door that opened to anywhere, where would you want it to lead you?
Wherever I can be of service. I don't know how that looks like, and I don't want to control. I'm learning how to be less controlling. So all I ask is that every door that I step through, I am needed, I am being of service, and I am there for the greater good. It could look like with family, with work, with creative endeavors, with relationships. But yeah, being of service, one of the greatest service we can do for the world too. Film, writing film, directing film, filming, that's such a service.
Yeah, is that your love language, acts of service?
Love language, I think, yeah, and words of affirmation.
Affirmation. Oh, good to know.
So even though I'm like, stop it, no.
Just tell me one more time.
Sure.
Well, Gley, mine is, I call it acts of support. I love feeling supported. I absolutely adore the community that is in a inner circle and all of the layers that extend out to my greater community. But feeling supported by typically acts of service is my favorite thing. It just fills me up.
Yeah, I do not make me feel like one with others. Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words?
I'm so excited for the 28th. You have no idea. I'm like sleeping, waking up, checking my calendar. It's been a long time coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It could be longer. So you did such a good job at maintaining timeline really nicely put together. So thank you for making it happen.
Yeah, that's I believe that is my job. To get to the end. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we'll go film festival all over circuit. It's going to be so much fun. I look forward to seeing you soon, and then again, and all the time.
Again.
Yeah. And thank you for doing this with me. It will soon be on YouTube, it was on Facebook and Instagram, and I see like little hearts and thumbs ups and things, but I don't know what all that means. So pardon my just not knowing how all of these programs work.
I think we did okay.
We're all right. We're all right. That's a wrap.
Oh, thank you so much.
Off with Gley Viera in Bulls and Piranhas. This is your official interview. Signing off.
Are we signed off?